Hello, everyone. This is Jeffrey Kerr. I'm here today with an award winning music producer. He has worked on several movies and TV shows such as Glee, Rock of Ages, and The Prom. He's also a 4-time Grammy nominee and 2-time People's Choice Award winner. Now he's making his feature directorial debut on an upcoming movie musical set to be released in theaters nationwide on November 10th, titled Journey to Bethlehem. Please welcome Adam Anders.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. And to start
Awesome.
things off, would you mind telling us about Journey to Bethlehem?
Many years ago, I don't want to say how many because it makes you sound old, but I was visiting my wife's family over the Christmas holidays and just had the idea for this movie. Like, why hasn't anybody told the Christmas story as a musical? I make musicals, as you mentioned. I thought this was just a natural family musical. And now I found out why nobody's done it because it was really hard. It took me a very long time to make it, but here we are.
I was about to ask how the project came about for you, and well, you just alluded to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a long journey and super excited to finally be here today. And it's been a long road. I've done a lot of things between when I first had the idea and today. A lot of projects, you mentioned a lot of them. And I think they've all been part of my journey, no pun intended, to be able to make this movie. I've learned a lot and I was able to pour all that into this movie.
Yeah, and after making a name for yourself as a music producer, what inspired you to try your hand at directing a movie?
I think it was a natural progression for me as a storyteller. It's the only thing I haven't done. I was a songwriter, producer in New York, and moved to LA to pursue film and TV because I had, ideas for musicals myself, and I wanted to tell those stories. And over the years, I've been able to sell screenplays and movie ideas and TV show ideas and do all that. But I've kind of been frustrated creatively sometimes because it doesn't quite turn out the way you want it to. You have an idea and then it becomes someone else's vision when you hand it off. And I didn't want to do that with this one. And I'd been, asked to direct before, and I hadn't taken the plunge because it's a huge commitment. I've always had multiple projects going my whole career, but you can't do that when you direct. It's you're all in. And it was COVID, it was locked down, and I had time to kind of reflect. And I decided, I don't want to do multiple things at once. I just want to do one thing that I'm really passionate about. And I decided to dive into this movie and, write the screenplay, rewrite the screenplay because there were many iterations of it. And then I decided I was going to direct it. And off we went. Here we are.
And we've seen some biblical stories adapted into
Mhm.
musicals on the stage and screen. Among them are Children of Eden, Jesus Christ Superstar, Josephine's The Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and The Prince of Egypt. What was it like for you crafting the first musical recounting Mary and Joseph's story?
It was fun. I wanted it to be for the whole family. Of course, this is a family movie. I wanted to make it a celebration, because Christmas for me is it's family, it's love, it's fun, it's bright, it's colorful. And most nativity depictions I've seen were more downtrodden and, sheep grazing in dirt instead of grass. I want color, I wanted vibrance. And that was kind of the vision for it, so the whole family, kids would engage and lean in and want to be part of the story. And yeah, so I think, we accomplished what we set out to do, which was to make a movie that the whole family can sit down. At the holidays, we all gather. It's what we do. But there's not many things grandparents, parents, and kids can watch that they like, together. And I think we've accomplished in making something that the whole family can sit down and enjoy together.
And how did you go about casting the film, and what was it like working with your actors?
It was great. That was probably my favorite part was getting to work with the actors. That's one thing as a director, I got to have a much deeper connection with the actors than you do when you're just, maybe the producer of a movie or the music producer of a movie. You work with them in the studio and you get to engage a little bit, but it was really, really fun to work on the scenes with them and create these characters together and see them bring to life what I had written on the page. Casting was, I believe, what Ilya Kazan said was 80% of directing is casting, and I fully believe that. And I'd seen it many times on other projects where we didn't get the casting right and it really affected the movie in a negative way or the TV show. And I just knew I had to get that right. And that started with Mary. It's her story at the end of the day. And Fiona Palomo, came across my email at 3 a.m. in Madrid. I was in prep already. We hadn't cast anyone and we were a few weeks from starting and everyone was freaking out and, putting a lot of pressure on me to cast. And I just hadn't seen Mary yet. And 3 a.m. I saw her in Fiona and I cast her without a callback, which was a big deal for a lead in a Sony feature film. And then the pieces started falling. Milo, a chemistry read with her and was just amazing. blew me away, and it had such chemistry even on Zoom. And then Antonio Banderas, who I'd had for 3 years top of my list for King Herod, he happened to be in Madrid as well doing a play. He was directing and starring in a Sondheim musical company. I was like, wow, that's not a coincidence. So we started kind of stalking him and called his manager and incessantly sent the script and the song. And finally, after going, we started buying tickets to his show and just kept going to company and hoping that his manager would be able to set up a meet for us. And then we got to know a friend of his, and his friend helped us as well. And then finally, I got to kind of give him the elevator pitch and talk to him and meet him. And he got to meet me. He had heard the song and loved it. He'd seen the script, but he wanted to meet me. And we had a great connection right away, and he signed on.
And can you elaborate on the vision you had for the music behind this film?
It's interesting because it's very diverse, yet there's a through line, there's a connective tissue. But I wanted each character to have their own sound. I wanted Mary and Joseph to have this love story, songs that brought forth their relationship, the original Romeo and Juliet for me. And then, Herod and Antipater, his son, are the villains. So I gave them more of a rock and roll, rock star kind of vibe, if you will. And the wise men are comedic relief. So I went more theatrical with them, more fun and crazy. But all of it weaves together beautifully, I think.
And as someone who previously worked as a music producer on some screen musicals, how different was it for you to work with the music department as a director?
Yeah, it was hard. I was wearing a lot of hats in this movie because I am the co-songwriter, co-music producer, co-composer. I wrote the screenplay, I'm directing it, I'm producing it. There was a lot of hats, man. So that became probably the hardest thing in this process, was how much was on my shoulders. But I didn't want it any other way. It was my baby. If you don't like this movie, you can just blame me because I have my hand on everything. I can't really point at anyone else this time. So what I say, if you love it, talk to me. If you hate it, talk to the producers. But no, it was very challenging, but very, very fun to be able to write a musical, but then see it through the end and see your vision go through the end and not have it changed by someone else's vision. It was incredibly fulfilling. And, all my career, I felt like there was one thing missing in my career creatively. And not that I'm a malcontent at all. I'm very thankful for the success I've had. It's been an amazing career still. When I directed this movie, I finally went like, this is it. This is what I want to do.
And now that you've directed a feature-length film, is that something you'd like to do more of?
Absolutely. It's first of many, I hope. Obviously, this one needs to do okay first, but I loved it. I think we made a really good movie. I poured my heart and soul into this one. The response has been overwhelmingly positive. I feel pretty confident that I'll get to make another one.
And what do you hope audiences take away from this film?
Joy, I think. That's the word that always comes back to me. Christmas is hard for people. Some people, it's like toughest time of year. And I think, being able to put this movie on, again, gather with your family and watch something that's joyful on a deep level, I think is an amazing thing. And it's fun to have the Christmas story told in this kind of way that's digestible for everyone, whether you're a believer or not. If you just love music, if you love holidays, whatever it is, you can sit down and watch this. And I think we succeeded in creating something that everyone will love and, feel better after you've watched it than you did before.
And within the past couple of months, members of SAG-AFTRA have been on strike. The Writers Guild of America and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers recently reached a tentative agreement which ended the writers' strike. How do you hope the SAG-AFTRA strike eventually gets resolved, which should hopefully be soon?
I hope so. It's hard to release a movie without your cast being able to promote it. After all these years of me making it, I'm like, really? This is when I release it during a strike? I think it's going to get resolved in the next couple of weeks. And I think we're going to get our cast back for the crucial few weeks before the movie comes out and the premiere and all the fun stuff we have coming. And they'll be able to tell everyone how much they love this movie. My cast loves this movie. They had the best experience making it. They want to tell the world. They're very frustrated that they can't, but we think we're going to have a good resolution here very soon. That's fair for everyone. Thankfully, the WGA settled. And I think that was the first thing that needed to happen. And now SAG will follow soon. It seems like everyone's now in a deal-making posture rather than where we've been for the last few months.
Adam, I thank you very much for devoting your time to this interview. It was great getting to talk to you.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey. Nice meeting you too.
And for those who'd like to keep up with your career, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh, I'm on all the socials. I am Adam Anders on Instagram is probably the best one. AndersMedia.com as well as my website. And then go to JourneyToBethlehemMovie.com to get info on the movie too.
Be sure to catch Journey to Bethlehem only in theaters beginning on November 10th. You can find more information through a link, which Adam just mentioned, in the episode notes. So thanks again for joining me today, Adam. This was great.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.